This is a Hot Pie Original.
And it's about to be how everyone is going to disagree with me. This is one of those times, I look forward to this time, when I completely leave all of you politically. No one will end up agreeing with me, and it's not so bad. So you can follow that ongoing conversation at jeffwardshow.com. Post your comments. Be clear. Don't suck. It's that simple. You can also post on my Facebook and Twitter pages as well. So the White House, and I know a lot of people feel like it's the right thing to do, and it might feel like the right thing to do, and I don't know that I could completely disagree, but here we go. Is the White House successfully flexing some legal content-related muscle? I think they are. I think they're feeling it too. And I'm not denying that there's pressure to do it. Fox hosts have flinched. They're touting the vaccine. Facebook is pushing back. They're saying, stop it, get off our case. You can feel it across the board in content. All right, let's be very clear. I'm going to do this and do it over and over again in terms of content. You can feel content providers. I know everyone wants to adopt the sort of talk radio mentality of there's media, then there's me, or Fox, where there's media, then there's me. It's all content. Opinionated, entertaining, newsworthy. The content world is the content world. You don't get to pretend you're not in it sometimes. So the White House, based on pressure, morality, power grab, whatever you want to say, the White House is flexing its content muscle. It's not pretty obvious. They're owning it. And a lot of you are going to say, right on, you go get them. And I'm going to say, you're wrong. And what you're suggesting is really wrong and really dangerous. I know it's not going to be popular to say it right now because it feels right. Because stupid feels like it's winning. But let me be clear. Whether it's a Trump White House or a Biden White House, you are not in the content business. Nor should you flex content muscle anytime, anywhere, anyway. It's not a healthy place to go. And the public should distrust it. So, I've just lost everyone politically now, and that's okay, but hear me out. The White House is pushing, many people would say, for all the right reasons, pushing these companies to do the right thing, pushing these companies to say and do the right thing, and that is give people quality information, useful information about the COVID vaccine. Stop, you knuckleheads, with pandering to the anti-vax crowd. So the White House, and many, I'll just use the White House as the prime example, is pushing these companies. And it's the wrong thing to be doing. It's the wrong place to be going. The relationship is wrong. Whether it's a Trump over-the-top relationship with Twitter saying, I need you to fix this, that's wrong. And the White House saying, we're going to flex some legal muscle, we'll get you, that's wrong too. They shouldn't be in the content business. I have this fundamental belief of which most people disagree with. But when you don't draw a distinct line between the government and industry, particularly when it's government and content, you are asking for long-term trouble. You are opening the door to a relationship that should not exist. I'm that black and white about it. And the reason is it's not their business. It's not. And the day that president, whatever the name is after that president, feels the legal power of the White House is influencing content and the content providers listen to them, is a very dangerous place to go. When Trump does it, it's dangerous. And when Biden does it, it's dangerous because you don't want them to be in bed together. You do not want Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump, or Mark Zuckerberg and Barack Obama, or Mark Zuckerberg and Joe Biden in a relationship. It should be, I'm critical of you, but I have no business with your business. And so you get out of this White House and you stay away from us, content provider, because we are not going to get in bed together. Even when you're critical, even when you're flexing muscle, they're in bed together. And it's not healthy. It's not. I have this fundamental belief that government and industry should not be in relationships with each other. I know it sounds nice and it feels right when it's all right. But then when you're the very same public and very same voting public that says, well, I don't trust that. I don't trust politics and business. Right. Then why'd you open the door? You need to say no. No. The answer is no. Joe Biden, you do not get to take credit. You do not get to legally threaten Facebook. That's why we have libel laws, and that's why we have the FTC. No company has a right to knowingly deceive the consumers. Got it? No company has a right to knowingly deceive the consumer. The consumer has, maybe you don't like the ability to fight back, but there is an ability to fight back. And it does not need the White House, whatever name is attached to the president. We do not need that president getting involved in content. Opinionated content, helpful content, you need to stay out of it. And the day that you take credit for influencing content is the day the public cannot trust anybody. We need those industries to stay away from each other. Instead, we're going in just the opposite direction in the name of righteousness. And right now, it's easy to say it's so righteous. It's the same, essentially, I know it's not going to be popular. It is essentially the same argument I would make about Donald Trump saying, we got to fix those content providers. You don't have a right, you fascist. You don't have that right. You guys need to stay away from each other. Twitter stays here and says whatever jackass thing it says. And that's between Twitter and the public. And that's between Twitter and the advertisers. And that's between Twitter and libel laws and Twitter and the FTC. It is not between somebody in the White House and their content. It can't be. It can't. The White House, maybe you could say, I know you're going to say rightfully so, is taking a victory lap. It's scaring people. And I suspect it's scaring people for legal reasons. And that is wrong. You may think the host is a jackass. You may think the host is a dangerous moron, and plenty of them are. It's not the government's business. Sorry. You got to draw a line when it's a jackass president, and you need to draw a line when it's so-called righteous president, because you can't let them go here. Why are you care so much about this, Jeff? Big deal, big deal. It is a big deal the day that you start saying what Trump says. You know, Trump, as this gives someone like Trump, some sort of dictator wannabe who lives in a content world where you better say what's right about me. It gives someone like that the opportunity to say, see, they're in bed together. Yeah, because they're in bed together. Well, this time it's okay to be in bed together. It's okay to scare Fox. It's okay to scare Facebook. It's okay for them to sort of meet up behind the scenes and say, okay, I won't say that stuff anymore, but will you do this for me? That's not okay, and that's what's going to happen because you've thrown the door wide open. And the White House is bragging about it. Trump bragged about, I'll get him. No, you won't. No, you can't. Biden is now starting to brag about, I'll get him. No, you can't, and you shouldn't. That's between us and them, not you. That's between the advertisers and them, not you. I know this is a crazy time, and I know people are fearful of terrible information and dangerous hosts. That White House cannot get involved in the content. Here's why I bring it up. The White House is assessing whether social media platforms are now legally liable for misinformation. If they are, it's not you. That's between me, the consumer, and the platform. That's between the advertiser and the platform. It's not between you and the platform. And they're making it between them and the platform. It is exactly what the Trump administration argued. And I said the exact same thing. You don't belong here. You're not allowed. And the day that you open the door for XYZ CEO, for the very public that says those people are too powerful, then do not let them in the White House. Don't let them get in bed together. For good or bad. I don't know why people cannot and do not want this distinction. People say all the time, well, there's so much money and business has too much influence. Right. Okay. Keep them away from each other. But really keep them away from each other when it's the content perspective. I'm sorry they're jackasses. I'm sorry if you think that Facebook is irresponsible, and maybe Facebook is. How do you want to fix that? You sure you want your president to fix it, but not the other president? You see what happens? You see what happens when you build up that relationship and say, now this guy is okay. He can get over there and talk to Zuckerberg, but that guy can't. Well, that guy said the same thing. You see what's happening? So the White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield says we're reviewing our legal options and certainly they should be held accountable. Not from you. No, there's a chaotic marketplace out there. There's a chaotic marketplace that should exist between consumers and content providers, advertisers and content providers, regulators and content providers, but not the White House. Is it an issue? Yeah, I think it is. Because while you may cheer it on today, and it may feel right today, it's the very thing the next Donald Trump or the next whoever it is, I don't care. This incestuous relationship between industry and government is a problem, in my opinion. My man on an island by himself problem. This is a consistent argument I make, is that you can't complain about industry influence when it's convenient and you don't like whoever's in office, and then turn right around and pat them on the back when the two of them get cozy together. I know, but they're cozy for all the right reasons right now. Yeah, well, sure, sort of. I don't know that. I don't know that I trust the two of them together. That is a relationship you should not trust and should not want to even have happen. And it's happening increasingly. And every day that you have, listen, Mark, I got to fix you, okay? I'll do this for you here. If you get rid of that content, I'll help you. Well, okay, Mr. President, can you help me out a little bit over here? Yeah, a little antitrust. We'll look the other way. That's the kind of thing you should be worried about. That's the kind of thing that should bother people when all of a sudden you hear politicians talk about content, whether they are Ted Cruz talking about content or now the White House bragging about fixing content. You need to be worried about that. And you're not. And the next time somebody says, well, Zuckerberg has too much power. So yeah, absolutely. Because we wanted to make a deal with him. Make a deal over content? The only thing the industry should be concerned about is whether or not they're violating antitrust. And those are clear legal distinctions that are taken up by departments that have been around for a long time. If there's a content issue, somebody else has to deal with it. He can be a critic. Any president can be a critic all they want, although I think it gets to the point of being a little unhealthy. I don't think you should talk down industry. But when you say they should be legally held accountable, and you are the ones that now take ownership in fixing the content, you've opened a door the public should be worried about. John McClellan is the co-founder and creator of ATX Hot Sauce in all 50 states, now in several retail outlets as well. So we're going to turn it over to the social media rock chef superstar, and we're going to walk through a few sauces and why you should buy. We've done beet heat, so we're second in line now for the tasting. Don't forget, everyone, go to atxhotsauce.com. So here we go.
All right, so this one is our smoked habanero 5-pepper. We smoke habaneros with ancho, pasilla.
Is that going to hurt?
This one? No,
Yeah.
This one's actually really, really good.
Okay.
This is like your traditional tapatilla, but without the vinegar in it, right? And because of that fermentation process that we've talked about all the time. This one is great on sandwiches, pizzas, things like that. Great on hot wings. I think you're going to really like this one too, especially the smoky flavor with the adobe chipotle and the smoked habaneros. We actually smoked the habaneros before we.
Does that go with a cab?
This would not go with the cab. This would go with the great Chenin Blanc, though.
I teed you up with that one.
Yeah.
That is good. That's good.
Isn't that good? It's just classic take. Well, it's a new take on a classic item. So it's called smoked habanero 5-pepper.
All right, don't forget
One of my favorites.
Don't forget atxhotsauce.com. Poor Rudy. Damn it. I feel sorry for Rudy Giuliani. I'm sorry. I do not like where he's ending up. And I don't like the fact that the White House is picking on him and tricked him. And poor Rudy. I know he was drunk. Okay, we're now reading he was out of his mind. I know that. And his teeth are falling out. His face is melting. And you put a kick me sign on his back. Rudy Giuliani has had, let's try to come up with comparisons on Rudy's career. It has been an ugly fall I mean, Leif Garrett, who has been in a pretty good spot, a respectable spot, and then it's like a Sinead O'Connor kind of thing, right? This guy, he needed to go away and have some soup and sit in a rocking chair. Instead, look what's happened to him. Look at this. And I know you want to make fun of him, and the White House made fun of him, and Trump apparently made fun of him all the time. Poor Rudy. He didn't need to be there. He needed to be at that home in a rocking chair with some soup. Okay? He did not need to be pretending to be in a courtroom or pretending to be wherever he was or or getting hammered every day and drunk, and he's a fool in front of a porn shop. You want to do that to the old man? Now, listen to this. Come on, you'll say poor Rudy with me, won't you? Poor Rudy. Now it's reported that Trump aides, you talk about mean, they would reportedly give him the wrong time to show up for a meeting in the wrong place. That's how he would end up in places like the porn shop. Attorney Rudy Giuliani, it's reported today, and Washington Post's reporters Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker, in the book I Alone Can Fix It. Unfortunately, this is very believable. Attorney Rudy Giuliani was intentionally given the wrong time for debate preps with former President Donald Trump by aides who didn't want him in the process. That's so mean. Oh, yeah, Rudy, we have a meeting. It's over there at Chili's in North Philadelphia at 2 o'clock on Friday. See you there. And poor Rudy would go. He might be drunk. He'd have a flaming Dr. Pepper or something. And he'd be drunk. Where is everybody? Where's Dee? Where are the kids? We're supposed to have a meeting here, and I'm going to talk to him. Ugh. Why'd you do it to him? Why couldn't somebody, the only person Trump could hire was that buffoon. And what somebody should have done, I said, look, it's time to stop. You had a run. You were very respectable at one time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get you to Trembling Hills. We're going to get you, some soup. We're going to sit out there and stare at the lake and feed the swans and the squirrels. Instead, he ended up with Trump, and look at him. Like the last time we left the man, his face was melting. Look what happened to him. Anyone that gets close to Trump, it ends badly, right? It just ends in a heap. He couldn't defend himself. He couldn't handle it. I mean, that's so mean. I mean, look, Chris Christie was also kind of in that Trump orbit, and Trump did the fat jokes. But Chris Christie had enough intellect still to defend himself. Still, I know he's sucking up to Trump now, but Chris Christie has got enough snap. Poor Rudy was a mess. They tricked the old guy. Listen to this. As the book details, aides to Trump tricked Giuliani into missing most of the prep meetings by telling him it was scheduled later in the day. That's so mean. Did he ever come back to the office and go, hey, guys, no one ever shows up. I keep coming to the meetings and no one's here. I got drunk on flaming Dr. Peppers again. I went to a porn shop. In the book, it says, aides told Giuliani they would be gathering at 2 p.m., though they were scheduled to start at noon. They had tricked Giuliani by giving him the wrong days and times often. Oh, boy. Remember the stories about Trump would make fun of him? Oh, you know that. You know that was daily. Trump had to pick on him all the time and then didn't pay him. Stiffed the guy. His face is melting and he still gets stiffed. Didn't even pay him. Somebody please. He's got that podcast now, Rudy does, where he sits at that giant desk and he says, now some commercial messages. Somebody take Rudy to the place where he needs to be. He needed to be there this whole time. Let him get a brown bag and feed some squirrels.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's The Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.